Wednesday Wisdom, where we share tips and ideas on how you too can build your brand reputation and revenue through the power of marketing and live events. My name is Anna Osherov, and today I'll be talking to you about setting your new year 2022 goals for webinar and program sales success. Now, are you looking to either launch or to build new webinars and programs and increase your registrations and sales for 2022? This sounds like an exciting venture. However, whilst it's exciting, it can be really daunting, especially if we don't have a plan, right? They say that a failure to plan is a plan to fail. So it's now near the end of 2021. Most of us are happy to see that year gone, but we need to make sure that we are ready for what 2022 has in store for us. And so today, we're really going to look at how to set up your goals and then reverse engineer them in order to be able to achieve them. Because in order to know how to get there, we first must know where we're going, right? And so today I'm going to share some steps with you on how you can reverse engineer your goals to be able to really make sure that you succeed with both your program sales and your webinar registrations next year. So the very first thing we need to do is we need to set our goals. Now, a good way to look at it is to look at your financial goals. Because at the end of the day, the bottom line is the bottom line, and that bottom line is finances. So let's just say you're looking to make $100,000 next year from your program sales. If that is the case, we need to think about how much do we sell each program for. So let's just say that your programs retail at $2,500. If we're looking at that as a maths equation, it means that we need to register 40 people into our programs in 2022. Now, another thing to look at is if that's what we want to achieve, we want to have 40 people in our programs, then we need to think about, well, how many people can we have per program? So let's just say that you can run a program with a maximum of 10 people. That shows that you need to have 4 programs a year. So those are our goals. Our goals are to have $100,000 to enroll 40 people into our programs and to be able to run 4 programs a year with 10 people in each. Great. Now that we've set our goals, we can look at the strategies. We need to have a strategy for our programs, and we need to have a strategy for our sales webinars. So when we're thinking about our programs, the strategy is as we just discussed. Our strategy for our program really is to identify exactly how many people we can comfortably have in each program so that we can really give our customers the best possible experience. So if we have identified that we can have 10 people per program, we want 40 people together, means we need to run 4 programs a year. Now that you've identified that, think about how long each program is. Is it 6 weeks? Is it 8 weeks? Is it 10 weeks? How long is your program? And let's set some dates. If your programs can run concurrently and they're a bit longer, or if your programs are shorter and they can kind of run one after the other, make sure that you identify that as a strategy and then put those dates into your calendar. So make sure you've got program 1 starting on this date, finishing on this date, program 2 starting on this date, finishing on this date, etc. So that would be your strategy for your programs. However, if your sales strategy to sell into the programs is running webinars, then we need to think about how we're going to run these webinars. Now, there's a few things to think about when it comes to running your webinars. One thing to think about is, what is your conversion rate? So let's just say your conversion rate is roughly 20%. Because you've gotten good at your pitch, you've gotten good at your sales, your conversion rate is around 20%. A good way to do that is to review what happened this year and see where your conversion rate is at. Maybe try and increase it through some great sales training. But let's just say your conversion rate is 20%. Now, if we want to get 10 people into a program, we need to speak to 50 people in between each program. And that's 50 people, warm leads, 50 people in our webinars. right? So if we're looking at that and your programs are running 4 times a year, we need to have at least 2 sales webinars in between each program, and each sales webinar needs to have between 20 and 30 people in it. So if we're again looking at the maths, you're running 4 programs a year, we need to run at least 2 webinars in between each program. If we calculate that, that gives us what? It gives us 8. 8 webinars throughout this year, a minimum of 8. So again, now that we know we need to run 8 webinars in between our programs, we can start to schedule those because you've got your program schedule. So now schedule in your sales webinars in between the starting dates of your programs and put them in your calendar. Now we've got some strategies. Our strategy is to fill our programs, and our strategy is to fill those programs with webinars. Then we move into tactics. These are things that we can execute in order to be able to achieve the strategies, to achieve the goals. So this is where we really need to think about what are our tactics for filling our webinars. How would you normally reach those 200 to 300 warm leads in order to be able to have them in your webinars? So are you using email? Are you using social media? Are you using Meetup? Are you using affiliate programs? Can you use word of mouth? Can you reconnect with people that you have already connected with? Think about how you can reach your prospects. Now, if you are looking at using social, email, affiliates, start to make those lists. So really start to think about, well, where can I find that list? How is that going to work? Where can I source new people? What social media channels am I going to use? Think about where your customers hang out and then making sure that we put our promotional material inside of those platforms. So those are your tactics, what's known as tactics. So these are the actual steps, the action steps that you can take in order to be able to fulfill on your strategy, which is going to help fulfill on your goals. So now that you've identified the tactics, and this might take a while because there's multiple different tactics that we can be using, then it comes to action planning. Look at your tactics and think about what actions need to be taken in order for you to do that. So this is literally like a spreadsheet, and in that spreadsheet you would have columns, and in your columns you would have the action that needs to be taken. Then you might have notes about that action. Then you might have the dates for that action. Then you might need to assign the person who's responsible for fulfilling that. And then have a tick box for complete or incomplete, or basically a tick box for complete. And this can look like a Gantt chart or just a simple spreadsheet will do. And so inside of that, break that down into your tactic and then the action that needs to be taken in order to fulfill on that tactic. So let's just say one of your tactics is to set up a Facebook event. Great. Well, we need to make sure that we, create the copy for it, that we have the graphics for it, that we set the event up, that we invite people, that we communicate with those people. Those are 5 different actions that need to be put into your action plan with assigned dates, some notes, assigned responsibility, and a completion tick. So there you have it. It sounds really simple, but nothing simple is ever easy. This will take time. And you know what? This year is nearly over, and we want to make sure that we head into 2022 with a great action plan so you can kick 2022's butt and really increase your registrations and your sales for your success in 2022. Thanks again for tuning in. As always, it is such a pleasure to share tips and ideas on how you too can build your brand, reputation, and revenue through the power of marketing and live events. If you have any questions, please do pop them in the chat and I will get to them. If you have any suggestions or recommendations, please give us the feedback. And as always, if you've liked it, please actually like it and share it with others. And remember, you were born to influence your industry. Thanks for tuning in to Wednesday Wisdom.